Hello and welcome to the Jeff and Jamie feed. We're so glad you're here. My name is Jamie Brown, and this is my husband and business partner, Jeff Tonidandel. Joining us today is going to be Scott Galloway. He is the producer of upcoming TV series on PBS stations throughout the country. Fork and Hammer is the show name, and we are so excited because it actually features our team. Jeff, we have a TV show coming out in October.
And us, yes, Fork and Hammer.
This is a little new.
It is very new, but it's been a little bit of a process to get here.
It sure has. So tell us about how are you feeling about the show coming out mid-October?
Well,
how does it feel?
As you know, I don't really love watching the shows as they come out. It's really, really nice of Scott to send us the edited ones before they
just so it can settle in a little bit for you.
Yeah, it's a lot watching yourself on TV, and the camera does put on 5 pounds too. For me, not for you. You look amazing.
Yeah, okay,
all the shots.
Good answer, Jeff. But I think it's so interesting because people seem to love food shows. People love food shows. This past year, you and I, we got into watching The Bear a little bit. And I think about our show, Fork and Hammer, that's coming out.
I can't handle The Bear, though. It's too much for me.
What is it, like triggering to you, or what is it?
It's too much of a reminder of work. And I get so frustrated with all the anxiety because you know me, I do not have that anxiety and that difficulty that a lot of the characters in that show have, but I do get super frustrated because a lot of it they're doing to themselves. I'm like, there is a problem, fix the problem. Like,
it was hard to watch this show with Jeff because you're like, oh my gosh, just turn it off. I can't watch it. Because, and I think that's a big part of being in restaurants is every single day there are problems.
I'm like, you're doing the same thing today that you did yesterday that caused you anxiety. So why don't you just fix it?
Fix it and change it. Well, our show is quite different. What did you find you liked about this process? We started filming, it was about a year and a half ago in June, basically last summer.
I think the cool piece of what we're doing is that it's on such a, like PBS is just such a great format for us because it lets us show off not just food, but design and thoughtfulness and business entrepreneurship. All the different facets of our business. I think, people just think of us as having chefs, but we actually have HR and finance and woodworking. I mean, who's got their own woodworking shop? I mean, there's just so many, it's such a dynamic business and we're always changing and to really showcase what we're doing and how hard it is, I think's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is truly a behind-the-scenes look at our world. And I think one of the things that has brought me the most joy is seeing our team and how much a part of it they are. And, they've done a tremendous job stepping into that. And we have such a talented team, from sommelier to mixologist to chefs and pastry chefs, and just to see them light up on screen with their talents has been incredible.
I love when he captures little glimpses of personality from our team, and it really comes out, and you're like, yeah, I knew that would be there. I know, I love that too. And the thing about a show like Fork and Hammer is that it's not something like you'd see on other stations like the Food Network, where there's those. This is a program where it's completely funded by sponsors, and it's a totally different business model. And I think for me, it's been really fun to learn and grow in a different direction. I think, us being in the restaurant business, we're knee deep in that, and you start to kind of know the nuances, but to have the opportunity to learn about an entirely different business. Our sponsors for this Fork and Hammer show are the ETV Endowment. We've got Trust 20, the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority, and Biltmore Estate Winery. And truly, a show like this cannot happen without those sponsors. And we'd love to get one more next year if anyone's out there listening.
This is our shameless pitch. Yes, but truly, public media in general cannot exist without the generous donations and funds and support from those sponsors. So let's bring on Scott, the producer of Fork and Hammer, to share insights on the filming process and also what it's been like to create a food show in this time of public media cuts and he's actually got not just this show coming out that he's produced, but a second show as well. So we'll get into that as well.
I love it.
He's a busy guy. Let's bring on Scott.
We are getting joined by Scott Galloway, the owner, founder of Susie Films, an international film production company.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
I think that there's some truth to
Yeah,
that.
we
We've been
went
to
to
Spain
Spain.
together. Yeah, exactly.
We went to
That was
Spain.
international, right?
It sure
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
I before we talk about you and all the things you have going on, I just want to know why'd you pick us?
I was desperate. No, I'm kidding. No, we have a guy who works for us who lives literally 2 blocks from where we're filming this, right around the corner from your restaurants. And he said, I love these restaurants, and a husband-wife team own them. I think that might be a good TV show. And I said, I think you might be right. And frankly, the fact that you own several restaurants and they're all in different buildings and they all do different things, I thought if we could kind of chronicle what you do, that could be really interesting.
Now you do stuff nationally and you've done 100 shows, but it is really cool that you're kind of in our backyard and there's a lot of synergies there that you guys aren't too far away.
No, it's great. We usually don't film in Charlotte, so having the opportunity to do that here gives us the chance to save money on logistics. We're not buying hotel rooms. We're not getting rental cars. We're not flying.
Which is important if you're doing something for PBS.
Yes,
saving
because
money.
you want to save, put all that money on the screen if you can, for sure.
But you've gotten to work on a number of different shows. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because obviously you have, not just for public media, but for other platforms too.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We've worked with, I think over 20 networks. I'm trying to think of ABC and Amazon to, I don't know what I'm trying to think of a network that starts with the letter Z. But, Prime HGTV, Food Network, ESPN. There's been a bunch. We've been really fortunate.
That's nice. And is there something about food that draws you to that? Because obviously there's Fork and Hammer, but then you have a second show coming out as well, both here in the Carolinas, and that's Kitchen Curious with Vivian Howard,
Yep.
which I have to say I am utterly honored to be included in that little rollout where they're like a show by Vivian Howard and then this other one, Fork and Hammer, to be included in that conversation feels so empowering and wonderful because we've had her cookbook on our shelf for a very long time, and she's been someone to just look up to and emulate, and she just does amazing work. So you're getting to work with her as well.
We are, yeah. We're very fortunate. And as far as food goes, yeah, we love it. It's visual, coming together. It's very convivial. And I've always loved the story behind the scenes. The fact that you have to have a team, you work together to put out this product that people get to enjoy. It's kind of like what we do in our business. You work with a team, you have something that's visual, and you hope it connects. But Vivian, yeah, she's been great. I had not met her before we started doing the series. Very approachable, very laid back, and extremely talented. Really comfortable on camera, and I think that comes across.
What are some of the other... you were going to say something else about Vivian.
Saying Vivian's she's just an icon.
She is an icon.
She's killing it. She's so good behind the camera and such a pro.
Yep.
Yeah. And so who are some of the other names that you've worked with over time?
Most of the personalities with the Food Network we've had a chance to work with. Emerald, Rachel Ray, Guy Fieri. There's so many. We've probably done 300 shows for that network over the years.
That's amazing.
But it has been a while.
Emerald's awesome, isn't he? He's the coolest
nicest guy.
I
Very,
love
very
that
cool.
guy.
Very laid back.
So I think what's funny is one of our first meetings as we weren't a couple. I knew this guy in college. This was Jeff. We were not dating. And I kept seeing him in our lounge watching television. And this was the late 90s. And he was always watching Alton Brown and Rachel Ray and Emerald. And I get such a kick out of it because all the other guys were watching sports and he was watching these food shows.
I still watch sports too.
Yes, but it was such an unusual thing. And who knows, you might have been behind the camera on some of those shows.
You might have seen one of our shows.
I know.
Or not. He's kind of like them.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But a lot of cooking shows, I think people have like a fascination a little bit of the restaurant business and food shows. And you can see that a little bit with The Bear. We were talking about it a little bit.
Yep.
But then there's also these, I've heard you call them stand and stir shows as
Right.
well. And then there's our show, which it just kind of feeling out how the differences and similarities between those two.
Yeah, there's a lot of stand and stir, cook and stir shows. There are shows that kind of profile recipes and the culture behind them. But this show, I think, is a celebration of restaurants. And most networks are afraid to do that because they feel like there's going to be a sameness. You know, like if you watch a Restaurant Impossible, the guy goes in there and he changes that restaurant and that's an episode. But to have a restaurant that's featured over a period of time is challenging. In your case, all your restaurants are different. You are opening a 6th, you're moving a 7th. Your menu's seasonal. Some do brunch, some do lunch, some do dinner. There's a great variety there. So I love the fact that this show, I don't know of a show that does this, that really explores the day-to-day of the restaurant game.
Right, other than The Bear. But we laugh it's funny how that's not real, but it feels very dark and real, whereas ours is real and it feels, the lighter components too,
I love your story when we were in the pitch phase and you're kind of pitching us out and you feel like you're making some headway with a food-focused program and you're like, I'm getting there and we're in the, kind of the final room and they asked you, do you think we could film them doing a competition to see who their next exec chef would be?
Yes, exactly.
You're like, well, thank you. That was really fun talking with you guys today.
I remember the very first network I ever pitched was A&E, and I had this huge. I worked on it for like a month, and I went up there and I met this woman, and I was so nervous. I think like 2 minutes in, I said, I need to go to the bathroom. Then I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I started into my pitch, and I was like 45 seconds in. And she goes, no, I'm not really interested. What else do you have? And I had nothing else.
Oh, jeez.
So I was like, where should I have lunch today? I didn't know what to say. It was brutal. It was tough.
Well, your industry, we talk about the restaurant business changing at an exponential speed, but you all, I feel like, are having the same, totally different issues, but the same problem of just exponential change. What are some of the biggest things that you all are seeing?
Well, ratings are down because there's so many networks and options and viewership in the traditional networks. The average age is a lot older. So I see it with my kids. They'll watch TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. They don't watch traditional television anymore, and they're not alone. So we have to kind of pivot. One thing, and I heard you guys mention it earlier about PBS that's great, is that it is hard to get funding, but there's no agenda to PBS. Like, you're not playing to a brand. You're not playing to a market where the networks isn't doing as well. You can tell stories to the best of your ability. And as you guys know, standards and practices is really tough. They want to ensure that you're not doing a PR piece. And I like that. And I also like the fact that we can have the opportunity to have this platform that we can talk a little bit about architecture. We can talk a little bit about cuisine or whatever else needs to be addressed.
Yep. I feel like the word that constantly comes up when, this is such a new business for us, but the word that constantly comes up is integrity, and just the notion that everything is kept separate. The brands and sponsors are kept very separate from the storytelling that you all do. And that has been so apparent. There is no product placement in public media. That is not allowed. And we had learned for the first time that that PBS is one of the most trusted stations out there. And it's exactly that reason. There is no pouring of a certain type of water into your glass this morning. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And that, I think, is a really fascinating piece of that specific media segment.
Yeah, agree. And I think it's important to tell people PBS has lost federal funding, and that's tough, but it's not going away. It's just more challenging. Hopefully, maybe that legislation will turn at some point, because I do think public media is really important, but it's by no means going away.
I think one of the interesting things, I think, for our show and your side of it is how many filming days we have and how many hours it is. It's 50 to 60 filming days for the season is quite a lot. And I think it will come across because, you guys are there all the time. But when we first started out, I think our team was like, wow, there's cameras everywhere and all this other stuff. What are we doing today? And I'm like, we're planning for the event that we need. That's what the meeting is about. That's what we actually have to get this done. Like, we're trying to do work on, camera. We're trying to get these things done. We're trying to make these decisions and move things along. We're really are doing a tasting because we needed to work.
It took us
on
a little while to
dish.
get used to that too, though. I think our team was like, I don't know what to say. And really, it should just transpire the way that it's supposed to happen, and you all catch as catch can.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's a great quote by Hitchcock. I'm going to probably botch it, but like he said, film is life with all the boring parts cut out.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
When you do a docu-follow, you edit a lot, to
yeah.
just try and make it happen. But you guys have been great, because a lot of times, again, from our Food Network experiences, restaurants would always be excited to have us come in until we actually came in. And then they'd be like, well, just don't take away from the experience of our guests.
Yeah.
Do you have to have that light? Does your cameraman have to be there? But you guys have been really great.
Meanwhile, we're doing a tasting, and my chefs, bringing stuff out, and I'm like, we're actually making the mac and cheese because it wasn't right last week, and we need to make it again, and we need to solve this problem and figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And the tastings have been great.
The big thing for me is the black box of you have 40, 50 hours of us, and you got to get it down to 1 hour or to 26 minutes.
Yeah.
And so how do you go about kind of like writing the plot for that show and how it's going to progress?
So the arcs in this series they're kind of complex.
What is an arc, Scott?
Oh, sorry. The overall story is complex. And so we have fun with that, but you try and make sure that the viewer doesn't get confused either, because there's only two things you're communicating: either entertainment or information, and it's kind of a dance between those two. In the case of you guys, if we ever come across something where I as a viewer, or I try and put my hat on as a viewer, I go, oh, I didn't know that. That's always great television. Like, the one thing, my biggest takeaway is, for you all to do what you all do, you have to know a lot about a lot. Yeah, seriously, got an HVAC, which I hear in the background, and architecture, and food, and HR, and marketing, and how is the staff going to react to us opening up a brunch service? I don't know how you do it. I really don't.
You mentioned HVAC. I geeked out for 30 minutes watching an HVAC video on ductwork and the best HVAC.
Was this recent?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is.
I've got a phone number for you.
We're working on a
Wow.
a spicier personal life, apparently.
But,
This is like,
but I mean, it's just
This is a low
those
point.
little things are so important in our business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I got to do a better job with where these ducks are placed. And I mean, it's like eye-opening thing, right?
You hear me talk about this all the time. I mean, early on, I remember you giving me a lesson on limes, size of the lime, when you cut the lime, how long the lime's in the free. I mean, it was amazing just on limes.
Yeah, when you juice a lime,
oh boy, he's going again.
Well,
Here we go.
I thought that was rhetorical, but no.
The flavor changes over
does.
the course of the evening. So it depends what time you juice the lime. It does.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with pasta water. It's so difficult. Like, you think making pasta is such an easy thing, but it is not, because that pasta water is changing and evolving over the course of the evening. And so the salinity levels are changing, and that impacts the pasta that goes out to the table.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So many details. So it felt like the overall arc of season 1 of Fork and Hammer was very much about the build out of Leluya Hall. You see a glimpse of it in the very first episode, and then you kind of track along as it goes until it actually does it open.
Well,
And we'll find out.
please watch.
Thank God it's open now.
Thank heavens it's open now, but that's such an endeavor for us.
Yeah.
And so I think that was an excellent thing to lean into, because for us, that journey was 3 years. You guys kind of captured it from, 6-7 months leading up into the opening, really when things started actually changing.
Right.
Because a lot of the build out for us was it just sitting still.
Right.
But opening a restaurant is an incredible thing to capture.
100%. And one thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. You all have been very, very kind about letting us show everything. Whether you messed up the wallpaper, or a key player in your team leaves, or what.
I cried in an interview.
You cried in an interview.
Just one?
Just one.
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a good cry. I think, it was, but it was good. It was very, but I mean, again, that willingness to participate is important. I think viewers will appreciate that.
Okay, thank you,
And you have to
Scott.
be courageous.
I kind of like it's always hectic when you guys are filming during service,
Yeah.
but I do like that it's just another, like, it's more energy.
Yeah.
It's more amped up. Like,
Yeah.
there's more going on. And you guys are thoughtful and not really bothering the guests. So I think it's adding another layer to
some
to
of the guests
evenings.
love it, are completely fascinated, intrigued by it.
Yep.
And I think when this show comes out, there may be more of that too. Whereas, this first season of filming, people are like, what's happening? What's going on? They don't know. And so I think that will actually potentially become easier and maybe be a part of some people's dining experiences that they actually enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the other thing too that's fun is, just as somebody who lives in the greater Charlotte area, I think it is nice to showcase the city. Charlotte's
I love that.
So great.
CRVA, Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority, is also an underwriter, and I think Charlotte's one of those cities. I travel a lot with work, and people like it, but they don't necessarily know it.
Nobody visits here though. It's like nobody's like, I'm going to go.
Not yet. People are coming.
They will.
I think what's remarkable too about what's happening with this program coming out right now.
Yeah.
It's spotlighted right now on a national basis. And, because you see that with Top Chef coming here to film their season 23.
Yep.
Michelin is here in the Southeast for the first time. These are huge organizations. And then here we have our show coming out as well, which will also highlight the city. And just to be a part of that overall story is just incredible.
I agree. And, Johnson & Wales is here. There's obviously, you all have great restaurants. I think the restaurant scene is very underrated in Charlotte.
We have incredible chefs in the city. I mean, you've got Sam Dominich over at Restaurant Constance, amazing. Andreas Keffer over at Custom Shop. Those are two of my favorites. Joe Kindred's got restaurant up in Davidson, also here in Uptown. People just don't know about our city and don't see it that way yet, but just wait, because it is such a great food city, and it just needs more eyeballs on it, and we're about to get that.
I agree. It's a great moment in time.
So before we got funded for the show, you started filming.
Yes.
And that, to us, we would have side conversations like, what is he thinking? What is it? I mean, we don't have the money. How are we going to do this? And what is that like for you as far as jumping in, taking a risk, not having that support monetarily, especially at first, to get started?
Yeah, I would.
Why?
Well, I mean, you have to kind of gamble to a certain extent. I believed in you all, and I believed in the concept. And we've had a good track record with PBS. The first season we didn't get it fully funded, which has been a bit of a challenge. But I do think once it comes out, people see it. We get distribution. It'll be easier to do. But yeah, I think, we work in a business where you have to do some stuff on spec. And
you are the true sense of an entrepreneur.
As are you. I think we have that in common.
Yeah, you look at us a lot of times and you're like, oh, you're just going to go ahead and do this, and you do the same thing. Yeah, and utmost respect for doing it. I mean, you brought a whole crew to Spain to film with us, and we were moving funding along at that point, but it was not locked down by any means.
No. And that was great. I'd never been to Spain before. What a beautiful country.
I
figured if this thing bombs, at least I get a trip to Spain.
We had a good time hanging out in Spain together.
Yeah.
So something else with this whole show program thing that I knew nothing about was the idea of basically slotting or getting into markets throughout the U.S. Yeah. I've been fascinated with the process, where basically you have a team that is selecting markets, going after them and trying to get them to say yes to carry the show. And so right now, I know I'm keeping a map of all the different places where the show has been slotted, where we have actual finalized air times. How does that process work? Because it's so different from the Food Network just begins to show it. Whereas through American public television and then releasing out to the PBS stations, how does that work?
So it is unusual for PBS. You're right. If you sell a show to ESPN or HGTV or whoever, it's national, and then they sell the commercials, and that's how it works. With PBS, you have to try and get, you do a sizzle reel, as you know, and then we do episodes, and then you try and convince stations across the country that they'd want to see it. And I kind of find it's exciting just to see, because we get weekly reports, and we're still a month away from premiering, actually just about a month out, but we already have a big chunk of the country that's expressed interest and has already set air dates. So I like that. I like seeing the reports, but it's unusual. Boise,
Yeah, well, I love that you see Boise and you're like, oh, it's 7:30 on Sunday evening, and I'm like, is that a good time or bad? Or
what is the best time,
know.
Scott, for showing? I don't know.
I think so I would say for a show that's food based, weekends are critical. Like if you can get to Saturday morning, like 11 is great. Fringe is good. That's up to 8. I mean, prime time's amazing, but it's so hard to get into those slots. So 7 o'clock is great. 7:30 is great. But the truth of the matter is now so many more people are watching it through PBS.org.
Through streaming platforms.
Through streaming platforms whenever they want to watch it.
Okay. So there's obviously not a ton of film and television in Charlotte.
Right.
It is, it's pretty limited. You've kind of created opportunities for yourself, I feel like, which again is very entrepreneurial. But what other things does Susie Films do?
So, the first one on Charlotte, you're right. We do have some things going for us, though. And one of the reasons I had to move here, I worked for a production company in Tennessee, and I had a non-compete where I had to go 200 miles. But my mom was born and raised in Charlotte, and it's 220 miles from Knoxville, where we were. But great airport, work for higher state, lots of really good colleges and universities, as you all both know, going to Davidson, in the surrounding area. And our business is run by young, smart people. So that helped us. But as far as what we work on, we just finished a series for ESPN and the ACC network called 3-Day Weekend, where we looked at college towns. It was a fun series to do. So instead of going for 3 or 4 hours for a football game or basketball game, what if you spent 3 days there? Which has been fun.
Oh, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah,
that sounds
it's fun.
cool.
It's fun. And what was funny, too, is I think when we first signed on with the ACC, they had 14 schools. And now they've picked up Cal, which makes no sense. And they picked up SMU. And so that series kept growing, which was fun. So we're always looking for more work. Yeah. As my staff over there is nodding their head.
Yes.
I love that. Well, yes, you certainly can help with podcasts and videos and all that kind of stuff too.
Yes. Yeah.
I know you've done a lot of that stuff too. Going back to the markets across the U.S., one of the big issues with public media funding right now is that, hey, it's not those big cities that are getting crushed with funding. A lot of times it's the smaller rural markets. So we are being presented by SCE TV, which is out of Columbia, South Carolina. They're one of the biggest. Now, I had no idea the Carolinas had such clout in the TV and film industry, but that is pretty incredible.
It is. They've got a great national distribution team. They are out of Columbia. They're the entire state of South Carolina. They're parts of North Carolina. They're Charlotte. They're Asheville. They're North Georgia. But they do a great job. In addition to being really high-end producers, they've got this ETV endowment that they work with, which helps fund some of their projects.
That's one of our sponsors for Fork and Hammer.
It is one of our ETV endowment. And that's been really helpful. But they're great to work with. And they're an hour and a half from us right now.
So all these stations are slotting our show, and then how is the rollout? We've filmed 10 episodes.
10 half hours, yeah. So it'll roll out every week starting on October 13th. It becomes available. Then it's up to the individual stations how they want to broadcast it. But it will be available every week on PBS.org and some of the other platforms, which, to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure. But it'll be online starting on the 13th forward every week.
And so each week, another episode is available.
Correct.
Okay, for 10 weeks out.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 half hours. So.
And they'll keep showing it too after those 10 weeks.
So it will run for a minimum of 3 years. We've done series with them before we just signed a re-up for a series that we did 6 years ago, and it'll run for 9 years. And I wouldn't be surprised if this wouldn't be the same case with what you all are doing, in that it's not timely. It's not. It kind of plays like
kind
an
of evergreen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the special things that we're doing as the show premieres in October. Now, it's the week of October 13th that it will actually be available to national audiences. But we are doing a sneak peek here in Charlotte. We do not do a lot of events. We are used to doing, food and, constant, dining service and so forth. But we are hosting an event in Uptown Charlotte at the Carolina Theater, which, as you know, is a restored building. It took them 13 years to restore this building.
They're slower than we are.
I know. We have done a lot of restoration projects for our restaurants, but the Carolina Theater took 13 years, required a lot of different types of funding to get it open, but it just opened up this spring. And so this premiere that we're hosting is going to give Charlotte a preview of episode 1 1 week early before national audiences will see it.
That's going to be fun. I look forward to going and sitting and watching you all talk.
I know you don't have to do anything.
I don't have to do anything, which is, I'm so excited.
It's a lot of people watching us on a big screen.
On a big
Jeff
screen.
is very scared of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you know, I don't love watching the shows all that much. So it's a lot.
Yeah. But it's certainly not the quality of the show.
And
Jeff.
It's him. He doesn't want to hear his
you don't wanna
voice. He
see
doesn't want
you.
to see himself.
No, I'm
Right.
the same way.
Yeah.
I don't like people watching me watch them watch it.
It's a lot.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Q&A, we have an awesome moderator coming, Andy Roddick, which is so nice of him
Very nice.
to come and do that for us and support Charlotte. That's the kind of stuff he does. But
My biggest worry is that I'm going to have to keep these guys on track talking about like restaurants and business and not about
Yeah.
tennis, because
Yes,
that's
yeah.
all they want to
Well,
sit
you
there
have
and
to say
talk
things
about.
like, hey, that was a double fault. Or
Yeah,
something to keep
there we
them in
go.
line.
I like
well,
that.
yeah, Scott mentioned to me, he's like, hey, try and get the questions from Andy ahead of time. And I was like, you do not know
No, I
Andy
don't know
Roddick
Andy.
at all.
Yeah.
He is not going to share the questions. And they are not going to be fun. And it's going to be me getting made fun of in front of a few hundred people, maybe 900 of my closest
I
friends.
think it could be 900. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking forward to that part. I think it'll be funny, and
I look forward to it too.
Happy. I am much happier getting ripped on stage than watching myself on the show.
Well,
So
to close, why don't we cut to a trailer, a short trailer? I think we've got a 30-second version
we do. Yeah.
that we can cut to and
I can
show you
handle 30
guys.
seconds. That's good.
I love that. 30 seconds there of that, and then we'll come back and recap. But thank you, Scott, for taking the time to chat with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
It's been fun.
On Fork and Hammer, Season 1.
We juggle 5 restaurants.
Try to open a 6th.
We sat here for 2 years, and we have no revenue coming in, while moving a 7th.
Join us as we tackle setbacks,
Hey, water. Oh, boy.
Celebrate victories,
There you go.
and share moments that remind us why we do this.
Do you remember the first day we filmed with Scott?
I do.
And we both came home and we crashed.
We were so tired.
exhausted.
I think it's the idea of having to be on, for like, and not, knowing the people that are filming you, you're uncertain about things, you're doing things you've never done before, you're trying to look smart, and you're totally stepping in. It's the imposter syndrome, right? That every human being faces. I think that was
Yeah.
exhausting, trying to battle that.
It was a lot, and you never take naps. I love a good nap, but yeah, you passed out with me on the couch.
I
It's
think
great.
we both passed out. That was the day that was probably most challenging for me, is I just felt like I was walking in somebody else's shoes. Like those were not mine. And it was exciting, exhilarating, but also like, what is happening? Is this really me that's doing this? So it just felt very intentional and high energy, which is why I crashed.
And then we talked a little bit about Spain and filming there, and by that point we'd filmed a good bit, and Scott looks at us and he's like, okay, you guys have about 2.5 hours off before you have to be at the restaurant. And I looked at you and I'm like, 2.5 hours. Okay, I can give Isabella a tennis lesson right now in this window. And Scott's like, oh, you're gonna go play tennis with Issa? That's great. Can we film there? And I'm like, we just
He was exhausted.
filming for 6 hours, but yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think filming away from Charlotte was actually a lot more challenging than filming here in Charlotte, because here we have our home base. We could go back home and all that. But when you're traveling, they're trying to capture as much as they can, and we're trying to make ourselves available as much as you can. So there's a lot more of that load. But what an incredible experience this whole thing has been. And
They've been awesome to work with. They've become our friends and part of the family, and it's part of what we do now. It's great.
I love it. And I'm so excited. The show will be coming out to national audiences the week of October 13th. But if you're here in Charlotte, we hope to see you at the premiere. We will have that on October 7th. You can buy tickets through the Carolina Theater. We would love to see you there. It's going to be really interactive. You'll get to see the first episode, which is called It Started with a Crepe, which will take you back in time to 2009 when we opened our first restaurant. And we hope to see you there. But thanks for joining us today. And we'll see you guys again soon.
Awesome.